So plan was to have a video done on Saturday. My girlfriend forgets the keys in the apartment, so we got locked out. That delayed me by a day and a bit. So let's try and do something Sunday night. I'm starting off just quickly with the Dow Jones. Look at that, close at high of everything. Incredible stuff. Not too much different, S&P, etc., etc. So the markets are still very, very strong. All-time highs as usual. Now, we don't care too much about that. We're going to look at the dollar, which has a bit more of an impact. That's bounced from the low over here, right? That's flush 101. We bounced perfectly on the last drop here. Let's call it 100.5. Now, we still close, high of week. I reckon we do a bit more. Do we retest 102, maybe even a bit higher, and then fade and come back down? And then we'll see. We could, so I still think that might happen. We go a little, but we could just fade there, or we go a little higher and then fade, and then we'll see. Maybe we break out, maybe we go down, who cares? Point is, I think we go a little bit higher before we come back down, especially given Friday's close. Bonds, pretty similar stuff, close quite nicely, a bit higher before we come back down, or maybe even take this out and then come back down a little bit, a little bit higher. 10 years, same thing as a 30, etc. 2-year, at least till here, maybe, right? And then fade. That's obviously underperforming. Everyone's talking about the uninversion, which spells bad stuff. Now, meanwhile, gold and silver Friday wasn't great. Still holding, let's zoom out. Let's remember where we are. We're all the way up here. That's not bad. However, we've had a nice move. The DXY and the bonds should keep going up. Let's take a look. It was a red day, right? It was a red day. Silver underperformed. Look at silver. Okay, so we've taken out, that's like, let's look at the weekly, just in case that. Look at that. Not the best weekly candle. Silver's been weaker than gold for some time. Gold's pretty much making new all-time highs, so you can tell straight away that silver's underperforming. Silver has a chance to go a little lower, especially if the dollar and yields are going to rise a bit more. So you could get silver a bit lower. Gold, let's just zoom in here, looking at the daily. What happens if we close below, 2490? We could go a little, let's get rid of that, a little lower. I don't know, but I see, especially with what's coming up here in September, could you get gold coming down here? Because if it does, it's still extremely bullish, long-term, even short-term intact. It could go there and then bounce, and then we'll see, especially with the rate cuts coming in, but that's priced in already. That's what's worrying. Like, everyone knows about the rate cuts. So I'm just wondering just how the rate hikes in 2016, that's supposed to take gold down, but that's what started gold's run. And I feel like it could be a bit of a vice versa. So I'm a bit hesitant. That's also why I've sold, my miners a bit. I'm holding a very light amount compared to what I traditionally hold. So I'm just wondering about gold, especially with that Friday close. And that, by the way, is with the market going up. So gold just feels a little heavy. Silver, heavier. If gold comes back down, as I just showed, maybe silver goes back down here. I don't know. But I am definitely contemplating. And I hope it happens because then I can add to my miners. Miners, same sort of thing, bit heavy. Close kind of, low of wheat, you could say. Look at this little level. Does that equate to the 2419 gold? GDXJ, if we close below this, do we go lower? Where do we go if we do go lower? What if silver starts to accelerate to the downside? Do we go there? Lord forbid if we go down there. That would be great for me, who's sold quite a bit of the holdings. I would definitely buy back there. Look for a nice bounce. SILJ, that should be, a little heavier also. Did bounce quite off its lows, but what if we take out Friday's low of day? What if silver accelerates down to the downside? It just feels a bit heavy still. GDX, that's the strongest one. I mean, that's good, fair enough. Obviously, if we close below 38, then you could start going down, and that might drag down the others, because if the seniors start to lose some power, that won't help out the juniors, because the seniors were doing very well, right? Newmont's, Agnico-Eagles, Barracks, they've been doing quite well recently, so they've been holding up. And again, the juniors just weak. I'm so happy I'm no longer in those. So the miners feel a bit heavy. Let's go straight to the portfolio update. Newmont, despite, yeah, Newmont, new all-time highs were made on Friday. Very happy holding that. Very, very happy. So that's, I remember when it was underperforming for ages. Now it's probably the most outperforming stock and the most senior one. So look, I've said what I've said about the miners. I feel like they're heavy, and if they do go down, Newmont will go down also. But just constant outperformance. This is the buy the dip candidate, but I'm not ready to buy this unless it goes. It's hard to buy it at 50. It's just I like to buy things that are destroyed, so I probably wouldn't buy Newmont even if we flush. I'd probably buy something that's very strong. I mean, something that's very established, something that will definitely go up medium to long term a lot, something like Pan American Silver. Newmont, I'll just hold what I have, probably not add to it, maybe nibble adds if we do come down to 50 nibbles, but nothing substantial. I prefer to put my cash elsewhere for greater returns. But Newmont just super strong. Next up, 55. If it somehow keeps going green, especially if there's a rally in the miners, if I'm wrong and it just keeps going up, I can see Newmont hitting 55 real easy. That's the highest we've been in a long time. We never rallied since coming down below 50. We've never rallied above 55. So I expect a bit of resistance at 55. And then after that, I mean, it won't go in a straight line, but that's, 60s and higher. You can see just super strong. And it deserves to get there. It's had good news. I think 2 times good news back to back. And yeah, it's got a lot of catching up to do. So Newmont, very good. Barrick has had good news recently and really outperformed everything, even Newmont, holding up very nicely. Hit its last high up here, just above 20. It's taken out its descending. I even deleted the descending. So this thing, we take out 21 and we run. But again, I just feel like gold, silver, if we flush, especially with the dollar yields going higher, we could have Barrick come back down. But wow, that's going to be a strong one. That's a buy the dip candidate. It's not going to come down too much. It's super strong, recent good news. So I agree with these levels. I haven't changed them. I'll probably have to look at the GDX, silver and gold to see where it may bottom if we start to flush. It could just go sideways and up, just like Newmont. It could just go sideways and up, even as the miners drift a little bit. So very strong. Agnico, also very strong. These three just belong in the same category. Wouldn't surprise me if it just goes sideways, drift a little bit low, and then just bam, new highs. Agnico super strong, 84 point, here-ish 5, let's say, bit of resistance, 84.4. And then it's just the old highs, just below 90. Super strong. If we come back down, it'll probably be something like this. First support will be the horizontal, then it's the ascending. Super strong. And therefore not the kind of one I want to buy if I'm looking for upside bounce. Pan America, though, would be. So this one, let's get rid of some of this. This descending did play its role. We had this pop out of the descending, but it's all about the daily close. The daily close was within it, so it's still held. And actually, it's been quite weak since, a bit like silver. It typically follows silver perfectly, and that's what it's done again. I would love a silver flush because this one, instead of buying Newmont, Barrick, and Agnico, I'd buy this one because I still think medium to long term, we go all the way up. And this one will rise very well. It had some bad news, so it may not bounce as much as it used to, but anything below anything below 20 to me is pretty much a long-term hold. So, well, resistance is descending. I guess this should be rough support, and yeah. This should be rough support. I would still agree with that. So I'm just going to cover support. I'm just quite convinced that we're going to get some downside. If it goes up, I'm just holding what I've got. I've got a decent amount, so I'm not looking to chase this one. Yeah, just here and here. I may nibble here if I'm not sure that a bounce is due. If we flush, I'll buy here. Even if I think we're going to keep going low, I would buy this 18 bucks, just above 18. I don't know, 18.11 or something. And then we'll see about the move up. So, but this one, I would definitely add to. All right, Wheaton, very strong. Look at that, just sideways action and then breakout. Definitely possible, even if we drift lower, a bit like the top three, Newmont, Barrick, and Agnico. If we go down, well, straight away we'd be below 6. I wouldn't be thinking about anything unless we go below 60. I don't know. I just can't see myself buying anything unless it really goes much, much lower. So So yeah, 58 out of 56. Wheaton, really good, really long-term, fantastic business, but you know, how much upside and percentage, even if we come back down to 56, just to go back to its old highs is 10%. You can get more in Pan America way easily, and especially some of these silver stocks. So I'm just happy holding what I've got and watching it go sideways. If it drifts lower, it is what it is. It means everything else is going lower, and I'll probably buy that. But Wheaton, one of the top five in terms of strength, defensive strengths, and just holding its highs. Franco Nevada, probably one of the best stocks out there long term. Not in terms of how much it's holding up, I have to admit, but I'm not buying this unless we're in the below 115. I think it has a good chance of getting there on a flush. It's just been quite weak. And also we had bad news recently. We bounced very nicely. I did buy that bad news at 115. Bounce, I think I sold some of that also. But whatever, I think 115, you go back down there, you just buy again. Because long term, Franco Nevada should be a bit like the top three up here, just hovering at its historic highs. Not that Newmont or Barrick is doing that, but Agnico is. Agnico and Wheaton are, and I feel like Franco Nevada should be doing a bit like Wheaton and Agnico. And I can see long term, it's just sort of hovering here or making new highs because that's the kind of company it is. I think it belongs up there. So no problem buying at 115. I can't see it going lower, but who knows? It definitely could. Metalla, that's interesting. Metalla has been quite strong this week, and it's been really weak for the last couple of months. You know, really, really weak. And it was up on down days, and it seems to have resistance around $3, 302. Normally I would sell that, but I just didn't. I feel like it can take this out. I don't even know if it's good news. That's the reason for its relative strength. I should know, but I didn't know. I just feel like we are touching a very long-term descending resistance. And if we've had good news, and even if we haven't, it's just the fact that it's been strong the last 2 days as we're testing this, maybe, and it could be wrong, just go back down, especially if the miners just go down, it would have to kind of go down. But maybe this is what it needs for a squeeze, a mini squeeze, at least 350 or otherwise higher. So Metalla is at resistance, but it's showing some serious strength, in my opinion. So a bit of a gamble to not sell where it is. And, you know, come on, long term, do you really sell that? That's also why I didn't sell. I thought, yeah, it could come back down, but come on, let's gamble a little bit. I'm only talking about a move from 3 to 4. It's not like I'm really, really being greedy. So Metallic could be on the verge of a little breakout here. So even though it's on resistance, I thought it was worth holding. Next one, First Majestic. Now, you know, the next couple of 3, 4, 5 stocks, they're all silver stocks. If silver comes down, they'll go down. First Majestic has been weak. It's been lower lows, bad news. It's had a nice bounce. It's bounced more than I thought. I bought the lows, so I'm happy to sell into it. I sold more than the bounce. I mean, more than what I bought on the bounce, so I want it to go lower. I want to buy some when I hopefully get the bottom of the flush, if there is a flush. But yeah, I do feel like there we may have a bit of a move down just because of, like I said at the beginning, bonds, the yields going up, the dollar may be going a little higher, and just generally gold's been so strong nonstop and rate cuts being priced in. So a bit of that's what would be ideal, like a flush, and then we go up. So but look, if I'm right, we go down. Where do we get support? We could at 520, but this has been so weak. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually even flush 5. But we'll take it day by day. We'll see how silver yields, etc. are doing. If I'm wrong and we go up, resistance should be, well, let's just look at the old high. We've also got this descending, but you know, if we start to go up, you'd really want to see it take out, well, why not say 6? And 6 would be a gap fill actually. So let's extend this line. First of all, let's take out this high because that would coincide with the descending. And then let's fill the gap above 6 and we'll see what happens. But there's a bit of mini resistance here on those levels, on those 3 levels, the 3 horizontals you see, in my opinion, if you have a move up. If you have a move down, 520 could be a little stop off point, but 520, 5, and 480 actually. And then the old lows. So you just have to take it day by day. I don't think there's any point in overdoing it. Fortuna. This we can get rid of. It was definite support and resistance, but that is now obsolete because of what happened more recently. So you would really want to see if it takes out last week's low, which is Friday's low. If we close below that, maybe something like, I don't know, something like that. It's very rough. It's not going to be that, yeah, a couple of cents below, a little 20, 30 cent move down. You know what? I would just leave it. I would just leave it. There's a little bit here, just before. I don't know. I'm just leave it. So if we just flush, let's see what happens. Watch silver, watch GDX, SILJ or something. Definitely silver. But just watch Friday's low. You wouldn't really want to close below 450, I would say. That might lead to a bit of a flush. And I'll just let the chart do its thing before I try and force a guess, which is a bit unnecessary. It's not that obvious. Otherwise, if we move up, then of course the last high, $5. Wow, that's very clear. Close above 5, we go to 540. So let's see what happens with Fortuna, CDE. Yeah, this one here, $6 has really been clear resistance, clear support. And again, it would have to be clear support. Look at that. A close below 6 and down you go. Again, this one's not really had bad news. It's been very, very strong. So you could still see a move down to 540, 545-ish, especially if silver starts to flush. Otherwise, a move up above 660, and you're basically almost guaranteed new all-time highs. So I think those levels there, 660, 6, 540, that's 60-cent increments, actually, perfectly. Still very happy with CDE. Hecla. Did I trim Hecla? I think I didn't, but I wanted to because it's so high, and I'm quite convinced that silver takes a blush. No, I didn't sell it. Anyway, if we lose 585, I mean, this has really made a serious bounce. Yes, it had good news on the way, but you know, it's done quite the move here. Let's get rid of this. So if we close below 5, let's say 580, but 584, the Friday's low of day. Down we go. Where do we go? I don't know, probably something like 5. But it's actually been so strong and it's had good news that maybe 5 is asking too much, but I would just let it do its thing, you know, give it 1 or 2 or 3 daily candles to sort of find its curl before it moves, and obviously watch silver and GDX and SILJ to kind of take an overall barometer reading of it. But it's had quite a move, let's just put it that way. Otherwise, if we run and we take out 6, close above 630 is probably sufficient to warrant a move to 7. Next one, EXK, another silver stock that's been really good and then really weak recently. So a bit like Fortuna, First Majestic. This one, let's recalibrate 340. So if I'm wrong and we just move up, close above 340 and we're moving up, probably to 380, and then we'll see maybe 420. 40-cent increments. At this point, the retest of the ascending is probably no longer valid, because at that point, you're just encountering multiple levels of new resistance, horizontal resistance that has nothing to do with the ascending. So I'm going to remove that. If we go down, then again, a bit like Fortuna and First Majestic, a bit hard to read, and I would just leave it. Obviously, the old lows at 250, but we probably won't go all the way down there on a flush. But it's weak enough to at least test it. I'd probably buy 251 just on general principle. In 251, whatever I sold in this, move up just in. Mag Silver, yeah, the ascending is flushed. This was quite weak actually. I was expecting it to be a bit stronger. So first thing to do is check if next week we flush Friday's low, which is pretty much been tested on Wednesday also. It's also here, so it's quite a credible one. If we close below 1290, then probably gonna go lower than that, even though it's a mini level. 1250, man. Obviously we're stopping off somewhere. We're not going all the way down to 1130, but another one that I would prefer to let silver, GDX, and maybe not SILJ, maybe just SIL. But you know, the general ETFs and the general underlying metal silver, I would prefer they do the the talking. in terms of their chart to see where mag may bottom out. On the way up, on the way up. Well, I would just keep it simple. Old high is 1380, close above that. New high is way past 1430. Next one would be Aris Mining. Retested the descending. This probably not relevant. This probably not relevant. The old high, and actually it's moved up from 480 to 490. Wow. So just to keep it simple, the old, there you go. So I would watch on the way down 430, a close below 430, and well, we've retested this, so this can go too. So a close below 430 and down we go. I don't know where. Because we made new highs, I'd actually probably consider a higher support, and those candles seem like they would do it. So go on, I'll put this there. So if we close below 430, then 380 might do it if we move that far down. If we move up, you want to see a close below 490, and then yeah, 490, that makes sense. And then you're running a straight past 5, boom, boom, boom. Probably going to 6 and higher. It's crazy. This one really, this is a special one. Next one, Gold, another special one. Good news, bam. Really leveraged to the gold price. This one, if gold keeps going up, this one should just run up a bit like Newgold. If not mistaken, I heard that on a podcast that Gold and Newgold, I forgot which podcast it was, but they are really sensitive to upside moves in the metal and likewise downside moves. So if we have a flush in gold silver, then this should come down. 460 first level of support. I would want a nibble, but I would be interested to see what the others are doing. There might be other ones that are more depressed. But I'll tell you what, if we start going to 440 next level, I would definitely nibble Gold. And if we keep going lower, well, I'll leave this descending for a retest. That should be a support level. But if it goes lower than that, I'd be in pretty heavy in this. I mean, there's no way we're going down to 350. That is some serious upside move on serious good news that I don't think it's going there. But those are levels. Horizontal, horizontal, descending retest, horizontal, horizontal. We're not going to go through all those, but those levels I'd be buying. Maybe not the first level, but the second one, definitely. Resistance, want to close above the last high. So let's call that 530. After that, 6 to 640, something like that. I don't see that happening next week though. Right, B2 gold. It's just a long-term hold. Long-term hold. It's not particularly strong or weak as of last week, this week. Just sideways. This thing just belongs way higher. So, I mean, I've bought this range several times. My average is pretty much, I don't know where it is. It's probably where it is now, roughly, give or take 20 cents. Zoom out, you know, it's a bit like Metalla. We're at the lows. You want to look at it 1 year from now, and it's going to be substantially higher, in my opinion. So this one, not really interested too much. If we go down, yeah, I mean, last week's low, 273, that's probably worth noting. Next level, is it 260? It's not that obvious. It's probably 260 or 4 cents lower. So I'll just leave this as a general marker. But yeah, down here, the 240 and lower, that's serious support. If we go up, then 3 would test 3 very quickly. A close above 305 would be good. And a close above 320 would be pretty significant. And there you can look at some massive medium to long-term breakout. I'm just holding that one. No plans in buying or selling unless we go sort of, you know, substantially higher or low from where it is now. Equinox, pretty strong. Very nice bounce off the ascending. Touched, yeah, this is clear resistance, $6. Psychological, horizontal, descending. 3 reasons to consider $6 as resistance. And then the low from down here at 550, nice round number. You close below 550 down, you go to 5, you close above 6, and you're probably going way past here. You're probably going to 650. So 50-cent increments. And actually, if you lose 5, you're going to 450. So this is just a 50-cent mover for 1 or 2 levels from where it is now. Very simple. You know what? I feel like taking this one out. I'll leave it, but this one's quite easy to read. Next one, SSRM, another special one. Weak. I mean, quite a few of them have had some weakness. This has been very strong actually on this bounce, not initially, but with a bit of a delay, it had a nice move, way more than I thought. I obviously sold 550, and I'm happy I did because now we're going here. So if we take out last week's low at 510, to be honest, we're going to go way below that. We're probably not going to go to 435. That's a big move. But what have I got there? 470. It's just, I don't see it. The ascending, don't need that. That's been lost. This is all descending. Don't need that. Keep it simple. I would just leave that. I think it's a bit like one or two other stocks that I've looked at. It'll probably bottom out before we get here, but I'll let silver, gold, and GDX do it for me. Otherwise, it has had a history of testing this area, and it's obviously not out of the realm of possibility. So 440 is possible. How much have we moved down from where it is? 15%. It could do it on a really bad week. Okay, so look, 510, 440. Obviously, I think it's going to stabilize somewhere in between, even if we get a flush on the way up. 570. And to be honest, if you close above 570, you're going straight past 6. I feel like taking this out. I'll leave it just to show my working, as we did in old maths classes. I'll leave it in. But I really think if you take out 570, you're not just going to pop your head here and come back down. I really think you're just going to go to 657, etc. SBSW, not really a gold stock for me. I'm not interested until we close below 380. And you can see here, we really did bounce off that last low. This is a line I've had in for some time. Interesting how that worked. Very ugly close. And I'll tell you what, if you've got gold, silver, just commodities in general flushing with yields and the dollar going up, you could actually finally get SBSW washout taking place. And then finally, after months of just watching and holding what I've got, I'll be interested to buy. But again, probably got some flushing going on elsewhere, and I'm more attracted like a moth to these stocks than I am to SBSW, which I consider a little riskier. But I just may nibble into this one if we do start flushing something like 350. Let's see. Go on real quick. Eldorado holding nice and strong, nothing too crazy. The support is the 17 bucks, nice big round number, and the low of last week. After that, yeah, you got a bit of a gap fill. And then after that, the low from this little pivot area. I don't think we're going to go much lower than that. Resistance will just be the high of here. You could say it's going to be the high of even 18 bucks, maybe also quite significant, but I'm not going to bother adding that. Kinross holding very well. Yeah, normally I would just leave this line, but this one's been resistance and it's quite a way down. I'll leave that one in. Otherwise, the old high, nothing. Yeah, it's just holding. Nothing else to say here. It's just in the middle of a range. Goldfields. Oh. So, flushed. Very good stock. Forgot why it's flushing. I know there was news. What was it? Some buyout or some bad news? It doesn't matter. Closed low of day and week. Lost one of the ascending tram lines. Good. I think this is strong. Buy. I'll tell you what, though, it should get there quite quickly. Horizontal low. Also, a longer term ascending tram line. Let's put it this way. 1340 should be very strong. Thereabouts, it can go below, but on a daily close, should be closing above 1330. Let's say 1330. And I feel like nibbling that. And even if you flush because the metals are going down, it's poor timing. How unfortunate. You nibble some more 1230 and you've got a good stock there at pretty damn cheap price. That is something I definitely need to consider. And it's flushed quite a lot. And it's a good stock. I think its dividend's okay. That's really interesting. Close at low date. That one I'm watching on Monday, no matter what. Resistance, I'm not going to bother talking about this because I'd be entering this for a long-term move. I don't see, especially after bad news, gap down, close at low day week. I don't see us moving back up, but if we do, then yeah, 1480 gap fill. We're never going to get there. I don't care how good the news is. And then there. So those horizontals definitely correct. Novagold. Ooh, you can see that just looking for the $4 move. And then a close below 4, bam, flush. And then you got this bit of an ascending support and even descending. Wow, long time descending retest. So this little area here is super, it should be super strong. And it looks like it wants to flush 4. What a little test there. That's probably worth a serious buy too. After that, well, you're probably going to extend that. Wow, I didn't see that happening. And on the way up, yes, of course, 480 close above that. Harmony. That had, look at that, down 7% on Friday. That must have been bad news. If it keeps going, yeah, look at this ascending support. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be number 5. So that should connect probably just under $9. If we lose that, then 850, yeah, 850, yeah. Something like that. Maybe 840 because it's had recent bad news, just a little extra 10-cent drop. And if it loses that, then let's be honest, this little area here would probably coincide with this ascending, this little ascending, probably coincide with that. That's if it even gets there. This is a bit like Goldfields, one that's super strong normally. So need to look up why it's got that bad news flush feel to it. But those two, I did actually notice that on last week. It wasn't just Friday, was it? Finally, Anglogold. Man, this one's already flushed. Let's just rearrange this support. It's going to be about 29.30. You know what? Let's just make it make sense. Let's just, it's only relevant for the last couple of 2, 3, 4 weeks. 29.30, let's say, close below that, and bam, down you go. Like $2 basically. And then you should get a bit of support. Horizontal, bit of, look at that, interesting. That ascending resistance retest, a support. Something going on there. Not my favorite stock, this one. I'd probably look at Goldfields and Novagold. Okay, very long video. Hope that was useful. What do you guys think? Flush, no flush? Who knows, huh? It's all about managing the portfolio in case you're right or wrong. Me, my holdings are light. I sold into the bounce. I do prefer a move down. I also know that if we just move back up, it wouldn't surprise me. That's why I kind of don't mind whatever happens. I like this invincible feeling, but if I had to choose, I would probably hope that we go down one last time. I add, and then okay, go back up and never come back down again. Good luck, guys. And what do you guys also feel there's a bit of a market flush coming? I don't know. It's that rate cut being priced in, fully priced in, and I just feel that it's a bit like the vice versa of the 2016 rate hikes, you know, where gold just took off and never looked back. It could be the opposite. I don't know. All right, have a good rest of Sunday.